Good afternoon. It's lovely to be here with you again this afternoon. I'd like to welcome my friends here across the globe, and a special welcome to my Italian friends. So ciao. This afternoon we are going to explore more the idea of what spiritualism and spirituality is about. We have to acknowledge that the word spirituality has been bandied around and literally, I suppose, misinterpreted by many, and that's something that is difficult to understand why and how a word such as spirit being interpreted and divided out and expanded on in different areas where it's commercialized on, and it's can also be exploited, and that's sometimes the problem that we face. Why does spirit actually allow that? That's a big question, isn't it? Because when you believe in spirit, you say you're guided by them. You are in their essence. We're all part of the one. It's difficult to define exactly why it happens. Why the grand. Hi, Gwendolyn and Aisling. How are you? I can actually have the time to do a little wave. And Myra. We're just talking about spirit, how spirituality and spiritualism can be exploited. And I was just saying there about how does spirit, or why does spirit allow that and accommodate that? I suppose there's many ways that we learn lessons, and in a way, I suppose, when you start asking the questions, the lesson is beginning. The question that spirituality, what is spirituality? What does it mean? And it means all different things really to different people. Hi Myra and Aisling, lovely to see you here joining me this afternoon. So most of us was brought up were born into and reared within the confines of a certain religion. It doesn't matter what the religion is, because it actually has a benefit in the sense of giving us a sense of the greater good and the greater energy that's there. The day comes, I feel, when the lesson starts, is the day we actually need to explore within, to go inwards and I suppose realize what is of value to us. What is it that makes us feel that we are growing in strength, inner strength? And that comes from, I suppose, leaving the ism out of it and go into the spirit. Because we are spirit. Our spirit is the most vibrant part of us. We might think, if we're very energetic, we might think physically we are the biggest part of us. But no, we are first of all spirit, and then everything else comes after that. I always would define what spirit means to me. And anything I say here is my opinion, and it's not that I have to justify it, but if it fits right with you, that's grand. There's an element of it. But I feel, for me, I find that I have to have something that I can pull together an explanation for this thing up here, because it's a bit slow, and it has to have. I am left-brained, and everything is the factual side of things, and I said, poor spirit, when they started working on me, they had their work cut out. If I could put the universal light as being something like the sun, a bright, bright light that's just, we could not even imagine what it's like. And when when our spirit decides to incarnate on this earth plane, it's like a beam of light comes from that radiant globe of light that's up there, the universal light, the universal spirit. And as a result of that beam of light, our decision to come into being is there and then at that point in time. And sometimes we're here for a very short time, sometimes we're here just to incarnate and go back to the spirit world. There's no knowing why some spirit just spend a short time here. I feel it's more to do with the people that are impacted by their presence, that it's part of their learning experience. But when we connect, you would have heard me the other day talking about the wisdom, the beam of light getting stronger. When we start to explore our spirit and our spirituality, that's the time that our light becomes stronger and we begin to grow in awareness at a much greater level than we would have beforehand. And it's one of those light bulb moments when you actually feel something that makes sense, that comes comes within your energy, and actually you can feel it, you can see it in yourself. So when we look at how we are in everyday life, this is how we can measure ourselves. Because spirituality, hi Amy, spirituality is something that we are it. We can't take a half an hour every day and sit in meditation and say, that's it, that's my time slot now, that's my spiritual feed. Spirit directs us in certain ways that lets us know that we are more powerful than we actually begin to realize. So when we are taking the journey to explore, to be part of that greater energy, gradually we begin to unfold. We begin to realize the power of that spirit within us. So things doesn't become so fragile. So they don't become, I suppose the other way of it is, they become so strong that we're able to take on to do things that we would have never thought possible. I know there with Aisling, she talked about something she was doing a presentation the other day, and she never thought she would do it. That's an aspect of spirit growing within you. So it's something that takes you on a journey, and that journey can be whatever it is that a week, a month ago, a year ago, you would never have thought of doing. But all of a sudden, now, when the time is right, you will be led to what you're meant to do. I always feel it's a pathway that we can't design it. We can't sit down and say, this is how or this is why. Because I always maintain, when I was 3 years old, someone the other side of the world made a decision that has brought me to where I am today. And she didn't even know I existed at the time. But a sequence of events then brought everything together. So the jigsaw puzzle began to close in bit by bit from the external part, which was the people involved, and bit by bit the inner aspects of it was filled. So if you take time out to just reflect on your life, just to spend a little time questioning what it is that's important to you, what it is you'd like to do. One of the greatest things we can find within that question is that when you start getting the answer, instead of being energized, you actually find peace. You find peace that literally then gives you the right energy to work with. That energy that can be very healing, wisdom comes with it. It's a very different zone to go into. So one of these things is just to be aware, sit in awareness. And when you sit in awareness, you blend with all aspects of yourself, which is your mind, your body, and your spirit. And when you do that, the key then opens the energy that you can tap into. I know it's difficult when you're in the midst of trauma, midst of heartbreak. It's difficult to actually see that this can happen. But as time passes, sitting with that heartache, sitting with it, and feeling it, it actually is your healer. Because if we try to suppress something, that's when we actually give it energy to become more frustrating. So just to have that awareness, not to run away from whatever it is that is causing you anxiety. Our lives gives us many opportunities to learn. And if there's questions you have, just put them up, because I feel if there's more energy comes out of when there's questions and when we become interactive. Because I found the other day lovely, because there was a whole globe of energy created, and that's what we can all then heal from that. But we'll talk about that later on. But to walk the path, we find, as I say, isms gives us doctrine to learn. We go to school, and if we're going to a particular religious orientated school, we learn within that framework. We generally grow up, especially in Ireland, within the framework of religion. We can keep the elements of that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you explore it, then you become aware of your spirit. Your spirit that is so open to learning, open to actually exploring. It's very easy to sit and just listen to yourself, listen to your heartbeat, listen to your auric energy, to listen to it, not just to know that's there, just to be aware of it. Get into that zone where you begin to know. This is where I do say with any kind of work in the area of metaphysical, it's about getting to know yourself. That's the most important part of it. Because unless you know yourself and know your energy and feel it, how then can you become aware of when your guides come in? You can't, because you haven't fine-tuned your own ability. Hi Sylvia, you're welcome. Thank you for the love heart. You can become, it's that energy that you learn to become aware of your other helpers that's going to be with you. If they can be pounding at you, and believe me, I was there for a long, long time before I surrendered to saying, this this is energy that I need to work with. And it was through this process of blending with my own energy that I became more aware of my team coming in. It's something, it's so fine-tuned in energy that it's not difficult to ignore them, but they'll keep pounding at you until you do. I don't know if you watch, oh no, it's gone, there's a ghosty thing. I actually do watch it but it's way beyond the norm within the metaphysicals. But it's where the ghost comes to this girl, and some of you might watch it, I don't know. But it's, in part, if you took away the drama end of it, it is very, very much, it does, I suppose, display the elements of spirit, and it does have, it's ghost something. I can't remember, I'm not into, as anyone that knows me, names doesn't stay with me. But it has an element of it that can teach us that there is spirit, we have spirit afterlife. That is our spirit that moves on. You know, when you think at the moment, the travesty of everything that's happening, of people taken to the spirit world, returning to the spirit world, what we feel, my witchy friends, yeah. And you know, this is what it's about. It's owning them. Whatever you call, whatever name you want to put on them, you know, it makes no difference. It's acknowledging them. It's being aware that they're here with you, and that's what's lovely. That's that lovely feeling, because you're not going to ever feel alone, because you know you can actually be present with them. And one of the things is when you're going through a trauma of any nature, that's the time. Yes, Sylvie, it is. It's possible to ask some questions, and I love questions, as everyone here. I've told them earlier that questions are important. It's your show. But, you know, it's that whole energy that you can work with once you acknowledge that they're with you. And, you know, doing rituals like we had the other day, I gave you the ritual for the new moon yesterday. You put your energy into it, and that's what's important in your energy, that you're able to reach out and expand it. Did any of you do the ritual? Did anyone put your intentions on your piece of paper and burn the triangular piece? Because I think most here, Myra, Amy, Aisling, most of you, if you didn't do it for the new moon, as I said, the full moon, the energy would be more based on the emotional part of it, because our emotions run really, really high when it's full moon. So that at that time you'd be able to stop for a moment and think what it is you'd like to write down, and then begin, do you feel that? Is that truly what you feel? So don't, never dismiss energy that's around us, because it's important to be part of the greater design. Mother Nature, our animal kingdom, our bird kingdom, no matter what it is, at the moment, it's beautiful to be able to listen to. Okay, I'll address that in a moment, Sylvia. It's that you can hear now, you can hear the birds singing. And someone asked, is it that they're always singing and we just don't hear? They are always singing, but we're always in a race against time. We're in a race to do something, go somewhere. That has been our lives. But over the last while, and all the trauma that's going on at the minute, yeah, they do seem louder, but it's that we don't have all the noise, all the contamination, everything about it. like what I noticed this morning, and I haven't noticed it before here, is the birds sitting, two birds sitting on the windowsill. And I'm close to the road. I'm not set back in any significant distance from it. And they were quite happy to be sitting on the window, and they stayed there for a little while. And I said, where I'm going, where my new house is, it's going to be a lot easier for the birds because there'll be a lovely quiet area for them. And that's something I do look forward to. Okay, Sylvia, how can we connect with our teachers and spiritual guides, first of all? I perceive them here as close to me, yeah. But I would like to know how they can be visualized. Just the first thing I'd say to you, be aware that our concept can often be within, we'll say, the physical world of what we're used to here, that we need to be able to see things, feel things tangible. We need to be able to do that. I would say to you to sit back and just to feel. They make their presence felt. I have never seen my guides, but when my team comes in, it's like an energy force that comes in. And I suppose maybe in the beginning I did want to see them, to know what I was dealing with, because as I said, this thing up here. But as time went on, and they kept hammering at me, and hammering at me at a time where I knew it could be nothing else. And we began to kind of connect at that point that I knew what was happening. And that was the time then that I started to engage with them. And it became then a system where I was able to work within the framework that I needed within this physical world. I don't want Tom, Dick and Harry around me 24/7. I'd say I could do nothing naughty if they were here. Joking aside, I often feel, yes, Maura, I'll get back to that. I often feel if we can leave behind the expectations that we have from this physical world, that by sitting in, we call it sitting in the power, but that's becoming aware of your own spirit. By sitting in the power, you actually, your energy gets much more open and much stronger. It becomes far more vibrant, and you become far more aware then of a presence that's felt. Your teachers are here basically 24/7 when you want them to be. They will teach you through different things. They will teach you possibly through the simplest. It could be a child saying something to you. It could be just you seeing a feather sitting on the ground. It can be literally anything that draws your attention to it. That's what we have to build into our consciousness, that we need to be alert. And when we build that alertness, we actually then accept, because we see the sequence of events that's building, and we become far more acceptable of it. I would just say to you, Sylvia, that at this moment in time, you have your team. Hi, Giselle and Barbara, how are you? I would say to you, you have your team here with you. Build up the relationship with them. Allow yourself the time to sit with them. Do your meditation first. When you do your meditation, then tell them, put it out there at the end of your meditation to invite your guides and helpers. That is something that you can do any time of day. And when I say sit for meditation, life is busy. And the way I would sit for meditation would be, I would sit for 10 minutes, possibly 15 minutes, because I know that after that I will fall asleep. And it doesn't stop my team working, but I feel I'm blending with them. I'm aware of their presence, and I'm aware of what I want to do. So just be aware that you don't need to put in a lot of time. It's quality rather than quantity. And when you blend with your own spirit, your team is there ready for you. Now there's an aspect of that might be controversial, but you know, it's my feeling, it's my opinion, that our guides and helpers are part of that energy beam that I spoke about earlier. That we're all part of the same spirit. Our soul is earthbound. Our spirit goes to the universe. So the difference is that our soul might need to live through many lives. And you don't necessarily have to believe in past life. I do, personally. But our soul, that's its role, because it has to go through all the learning processes. And when the aspect of that is the light, when we leave here, when we leave the physical, we're gone back to the universal world, the universal soul. Okay? Right. Myra, do we have more than one? Yes. You have one guide that will be with you through the eons of time. As I say, it's your view if you believe in reincarnation. But if you it doesn't matter. You have a spirit guide that's with you from birth, from you come into being. You have that spirit guide with you. And, you know, you'll often see where the child, you'll see a child, a young, sometimes a baby, but definitely as they get into being a year, 2-year-old, you'll see that in a child. You'll see where that spirit energy is so strong. And it's, you know, it's not in all children, but all children have it, but you don't see it. But that aspect starts, the energy is there with, and you see where children would recognize spirit, would be talking to them. All of those things, they're all that aspect of their world. I think we kind of, as adults, more in the past, we try to suppress that in children, and it results in different ways, sometimes behavior issues, sometimes problems that arise. It's just when they're able to acknowledge where they are, who they are in themselves, that's what's important. Wait a second now, where was there a question? Giselle, and there was another question there, and I want to come back to Giselle. Sylvia. Yeah, I think I'd address that. I perceive them here as close to me, but I would like to know how they can be visualized. Yeah, I think I addressed that. And do we have more than one? Yes. Giselle. I still meant to get back to you. I still struggle with meditation, always have done. But when I work with spirit, I get it all quickly. Why does it come really? I don't know whether I can. Yeah, I don't get them more. It doesn't. Oh, there it is now. I don't. Why does it come really fast? Because Giselle, that would be your energy. They're your team. They know you better than you know yourself. Don't worry about the minor details, because they will have given you the overall picture as to what it is that they want you to know. Your wisdom will grow, and you know this already, because I know Giselle, Chazelle, you know, through the years of work on yourself, you know there's so much of your journey you're already aware of. So when it starts to come, the information starts to come quickly, just be with it. Don't try to stop it, or don't try to I suppose, get it. Just give it as it is, because when we start to try and put it together from up here, we lose the content, because we're taking it through a channel of our mental ability. And mediumship and psychic work, let's face it, it's our experiences that the spirit world works with. There's always a risk that we're putting our interpretation on it. You know, deliver it. It's not our information. What we do is deliver, except where we need to censor, if it's medically prescribing or something to that effect, or forewarning of passing. Things like that, you have to step in and you have to edit and censor what's coming through. Apart from that, you have the ability to actually deliver and not be worrying about, I forgot this or I forgot that. Trust yourself that you're delivering what you need to deliver. That's the important thing, because there's where the trust comes in what you're doing. Yeah, Myra, I'm with Myra here. They spoke to me as a child too. I recognize it, but I don't see or know who the spirit is speaking. It's difficult to get what's down into the blue. I just can go back, and I don't see or know who the spirit is speaking. If your wee boy is happy and content, all is fine. Just be aware that when he's able to talk to you, it means an awful lot. So being aware of how he's working with it is your role. You know what it's like because you've experienced it. And I feel you still experience it. They're still there with talking to you, and you still know it at times. You haven't closed it down. Yeah. What age is your wee boy? I say wee boy, but when you're my age, everyone below 50 is wee. I got to catch up with them. Chazelle, I got to catch up with them, and I always go with the flow. I know that I talk fast, but I got to slow down, as most people. Hi, Natalia. I can't open up that part. Yeah, it just won't do it. He's 6. At that age, it's lovely to see him able to communicate, because that to him is very precious. Just talk to him, I suppose not. Hi, Natalia, lovely to see you here. There's messages in what he's been told. So, you know, if you have a conversation that's nice. I know with one of my children, I used to go in the car for drives that would actually take out a lot of the conversations that they used to have. It's an indirect. Sometimes they be afraid to say maybe too much, or what they're exactly experiencing. So I would talk to him and let him know that you're excited about it. He'll probably come to a stage where he'll begin to suppress it a little bit. You know, school is a place where they don't always be open to it, so they do become less sensitive. But it is a lovely, lovely experience for him, because you'll find that he is artistic as well. I say artistic. He will be creative, and he wants to be create things within the field of art. So yeah, it's a lovely, lovely experience. I've seen Andre Rieu on telly one night, and he had a 3-year-old child playing the Bumblebee, Flight of the Bumblebee, on the violin at 3 years of age. And I think the Flight of the Bumblebee is a difficult piece for anyone. But just imagine what that child is experiencing. He had him back a few years down the line, and again he would have blown people away. But you know, that's the spirit energy he came in with. So for him, it's, you know, it's au naturel. Lovely. Sometimes he will give us messages. Some we understand, some we don't. Make note of them. Just put it down, journal it, and time passes, and the threads of what the message is comes to awareness. It's like dreams. Maybe to ask him about dreams. Does he have dreams, happy dreams? Because in the same thing applies. The threads start to come together over time, not straight away. Do our team change during different times in our lives? Yeah, I think I got waylaid somewhere along the line, and I was on that path and left it. We have the one life guide that comes with us through all experiences. But then as we go through the experiences that teaches us life's lessons, which can be very diverse, we have different guides comes in and spends some time with us. That time can be, now this part I don't know, it has come through through trance work. It's been said that the guides come, these other guides that comes in to learn to experience what it is to guide someone through. It can be a trauma, it can be happy time, because we need guides with us as well when we feel happy, because we need to be able to communicate with them and look for guidance. So yes, the answer to that is yes. I myself, I say yes, we have the guide that is with us through our lifetimes, and then we have the guides that comes in to help us. What the story is behind that, I'm just saying what I've been told in the past. So that's where the answer to that one is. Team change, yeah. That, I think we have to, if we want to get some relaxation in, I think we need to come to an end at this stage. Thank you for participating, because it actually becomes your show, because I'm only here to facilitate what the spirit world want me to put through, and facilitate what your spirit team wants you to do. And it's the energy that's created. And at the end of the relaxation, what I'd like to ask you is to come together in energy, just in that join in the universal energy, to send healing out around the world, because we have some crazy people and we have some terrible things happening. So I feel to contribute to the healing, the overall the overall impact of energy that's needed to bring negative into positive. Each and every one of us can contribute by giving our energy and allowing it to reach out. So if you just get yourself into a comfortable place and just be aware of not being too comfortable, that you're supported, but yet not. I always feel a hard chair never does me, because I'm kind of wiggling and trying to get myself comfortable. But if you're well supported, but just that you won't fall asleep, I'll waken you up if you do. Okay. I might be adjusting this if it gets too loud. Hi Sabrina. We're just starting into the relaxation. So sitting nice and comfortably on the chair. Be aware of where you're sitting. Be aware of your feet being firmly touching the ground. And now we're going to spend a few moments just sitting in the energy. And what you're going to ask your higher power is to give you the energy to relax and to let go of the traumas and worrying thoughts of the day. I feel before we even start that the colour pink is very important. To me, the colour pink is about healing. Healing the love of self. It's very beautiful and all absorbing. So first of all, just be aware of your feet, the muscles of your feet and legs up to your knees. Just be aware of how tension can be held in these muscles. Just allowing now for that tension to leave. So with the inward breath, just give the indication that you want to relax. So breathe in, and with the outward breath, release the muscles of the feet and legs of any tension that you may be feeling. Move up now to the muscles of the thighs and into the pelvis. Just be aware of any tension that you're feeling. Breathe in with awareness and breathe out and relax. Now we're going to work up into the abdomen. And this is where we can hold a lot of tension. And the tension can make us feel nauseous. It can make us feel as if there's a tight knot in our stomach. So this time with the inward breath, just breathe deep down into the pit of the stomach. And with the outward breath, just release any tension that you're feeling. Releasing and relaxing. We move up now into the muscles of the chest, of the diaphragm, the muscles in your back and the front of the chest. So now as you breathe in, you expand these muscles, and as you breathe out, you release and relax. You're breathing in the breath of life, and you're letting go of what's no use to you anymore. Just releasing any tension. We move up now the muscles of the shoulders and become aware of the muscles of the hands, up the arms, so be aware of how you can hold tension in these muscles. Just breathe in with the awareness, and as you breathe out, just release and relax. So now we move up now to the muscles of the face, the head and the neck. We begin with the muscles of the neck and the back of the head. Just being aware of any tension that you're feeling. Just release as you breathe out. So now we'll move around to the front, to the face and the crown. So the muscles of the face we use every day as a mask to hide how we really feel. So now it's safe to release that mask. So as you breathe in, visualize the muscles of the face, just relaxing and allowing the tension to leave as you breathe out. There's no hurry, just allow with the inward breath, allow the awareness to release any tension that you're feeling. Now just realize that your energy now feels relaxed, and you become aware of colour. The colour, you don't necessarily have to see it, is to feel it is the most important. So with the next breath, just visualize yourself breathing in the colour that you need. Just breathe deep down into the stomach. And as you breathe out, just allow it to fill your aura. To be aware of that beautiful energy that expands outside of your physical being. Just being aware of that essence of energy that extends out past your reality. And now I will ask you all to visualize that energy, the colour that you feel, to expand that energy to reach out to wherever it's needed, to help those who are sick, just allow it, give it permission to extend out past your physical being and connect with the universal energy. We extend it to those who live in fear. And we extend it to the war and torn countries. Just allowing ourselves to take from that light as well the healing that we need. So now we just come back into awareness of where you're sitting. And just allow your energy now to come back to a place where it's safe for you in your day-to-day life. Despite what you might hear about closing down your chakras, you can't do that. You just bring it back, the energy back, to a place where you feel safe. So just open your eyes and become aware of your surroundings. Thank you all. That was lovely. There was lovely energy there coming as you progressed into the extending your energy out. There was someone's back was feeling quite tense. Okay, lovely, Sylvia. Okay, next time. Well, on Monday we are doing. We'll be doing psychic exercises, and we won't always keep on the theme that's on the video, because it will vary, but it all comes under the same banner. Marion, you're welcome. Olivia, you're welcome, and thank you for joining us. We started at 3, so sorry you're only getting a little bit of it. Yeah, when we'll have different exercises, and I said before, if anyone that's interested in kind of starting development, that we'll kind of gear maybe one of the days, because this is happening while lockdown is on. You're very welcome, Sabrina, from my heart. You're very, very welcome. And more questions, the better. We will have, while lockdown is on, these sessions are going to be extra. I'm here tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock our time here, Irish UK time, 6 o'clock in Italian time, and we will. I always say I don't know what I'm going to be doing, because what happens is I can put out a plan, and when the show starts, it can take its own way, because Spirit Guides comes in and says, no, the work you've done, just leave it. So I've learned to just not be pretentious and say I'm going to do this, this and this. But Monday is kind of geared towards doing things about development, your development. So any questions that you have, you can either message me beforehand, and we can, if there's questions that might come up with explanations that would be good to take into the group. So I need to go now. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for joining in on the healing aspect. I think that's something that's important now at this stage, to focus time, because we'll talk about how we do that too on Monday's show, because it is important. We can all contribute to healing and sending it out. Thank you all very much, and see you tomorrow evening, whoever can join me. And yeah, keep safe and well, and stay the social distancing, which is becoming part of our vocabulary today. Bye. Bless you.